Three Chinese astronauts set for new space mission tomorrow morning. City's COVID caseload falls slightly, but bar clusters continue to escalate. And John Lee says events such as the anti-extradition movement will not happen again. Good evening and welcome to TVB News. China will send 3 astronauts to space to help with the construction work of its space station. The spacecraft is set to blast off from the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center in Gansu in north-central China tomorrow morning. Christy Khan reports.
China will launch its Shenzhou 14 spacecraft tomorrow morning, carrying 3 astronauts to the Tiangong space station for a 6-month space mission. Among the trio, 43-year-old Chen Dong is the mission commander.
6年前的太空之旅结束后
Chen had previously participated in 2016's Shenzhou 11 mission, and he told reporters that he is fully prepared for the upcoming challenges. The only female astronaut in the team is 43-year-old Liu Yang, who became the first Chinese woman to have been sent to space during the Shenzhou 9 mission back in 2012. 46-year-old Cai Shicha, the eldest member of the team, will be making his maiden space voyage.
经过12年的准备
He said he has been preparing for the mission for 12 years. The Shenzhou 14 mission aims to complete the construction of the unfinished Tiangong space station. This station is set to be a 3-module structure comprising the core module Tianhe and the 2 lab modules Wentian and Mengtian. The trio will give science classes to students while carrying out space station platform inspections and tests. According to the China Manned Space Agency, the 3 astronauts will rotate with the Shenzhou 15 crew in orbit and return to the Dongfeng landing site in Mongolia Autonomous Region in December. Christy Khan, TVB News.
Hong Kong reported 446 new COVID infections, about 10% down from yesterday. 64 of today's cases are imported, and there are more new infections stemming from bar-related clusters and schools. Jackie Lin has more.
At the heart of Hong Kong's nightlife scene, outbreaks continued at the 4 COVID hit bars. LINQ added an alarming 44 cases overnight, bringing its total case count to 65. Shuffle nightclub reported 28 new infections. Its infection tally has now soared past 40. The Iron Ferries bar and Zentral bar logged 3 and 2 additional cases, respectively. Among other cases, Christian and Missionary Alliance Sen-K Primary School saw 5 students infected. 4 of them are from the same class. HKSPC operations and a Claus Fanling Nursery School reported 3 infections. Both schools will suspend classes until Thursday. At Hong Kong Baptist University-affiliated school Wong Kam Fai Secondary and Primary School, a teacher and 2 students in the French class tested positive.
Even when all students were wearing masks, there was some transmission because Omicron is highly infectious. And in kindergartens and in French classes, all students and teachers are required to do RAT on a daily basis. So hopefully there won't be major outbreaks in schools.
The jazz class cluster at Holy Trinity College has seen 6 infections so far after adding 3 new cases. Authorities also reviewed self-diagnoses declared on June 1st. 72 cases, or around 20% of the rapid test results that day, turned out to be COVID negative. The Center for Health Protection is not ruling out that there are fake COVID positive results among recent declarations. Jackie Lin, TVB News.
A pediatric expert said schools should step up to take more anti-COVID precautionary measures on their premises. Dr. Patrick Ip, president of the Hong Kong Pediatric Society, urged parents to get their children vaccinated, saying the vaccination rates at some primary schools and kindergartens are just 50 or 60%. He added children who have recovered from COVID-19 also need to take the vaccine, as the antibody level will drop 3 months after recovery. Dr. Ip also called on schools to continue carrying out protective strategies to minimize the risk of transmission on campus.
For example, when children need to remove their mask, they need to ensure that children will be kept at a certain distance. And also with some protection, like having some plastic cover.
Chief Executive Designate John Lee said the next 5 years are key for turning Hong Kong from stability to prosperity. He's also confident that events such as the anti-extradition movement will not happen again.
Chief Executive Designate John Lee and his governing team will take office on July 1st, which also marks the 25th anniversary of the establishment of the Hong Kong SAR. In an interview with the Hong Kong China News Agency, Lee said 2019 has been a most unforgettable year. He said he will never forget the destruction caused by the anti-government protests. But Lee said the experience provided an important lesson as it showed how certain risks can quickly arise and cause severe damage. The chief executive designate believes the next 5 years will be crucial for Hong Kong to turn from stability to prosperity. That means efforts will be focused on developing the economy and resolving livelihood issues. He said, I have absolute confidence that chaos will not happen again because national security risks have basically come under control. During his election campaign, Lee said if elected, he will negotiate with the mainland about resuming cross-border travel. During the interview, he said the current pandemic figures in Hong Kong are still manageable, but stressed the city must improve its pandemic control efforts. Lee said, if we're not doing our part, it's unfair to negotiate with the mainland, so the public should know that even though there is a possibility, we are still facing many challenges. Lee added the process of assembling his governing team has been smooth and is almost complete.
A couple were arrested on suspicion of murdering their 14-month-old baby daughter in Pat Hung, Yuen Long. Police received a report from the father of the 32-year-old female suspect, saying he was unable to get in touch with the woman. When officers later broke into the couple's village house, they found the baby girl's body wrapped in a towel. She appeared to have died for 1 to 3 days with multiple injuries. The mother and the 33-year-old father, who has mental health records, have been arrested. Today marks the 33rd anniversary of the June 4th incident. The government has temporarily closed off sections of Victoria Park in response to the police's concerns of incitations of unauthorized assemblies. Timothy Lee reports.
This morning, police officers wearing stab-resistant tactical vests were seen patrolling the park and nearby areas. Police vehicles were spotted in the car park next to the entrance by Tin Hau MTR station. Some residents did their morning exercises in areas that have not been cordoned off by authorities. Within Victoria Park, football pitches, basketball courts, the central lawn, and multiple exits are closed from 11 p.m. Friday to 12:30 a.m. Sunday. In the area around Sogo Causeway Bay, both uniformed and plainclothes officers were on standby. Authorities have also sectioned off a part of East Point Road. Opinions are divided on today's measures at Victoria Park. This woman said she is not affected by the government's arrangements.
The government doesn't need to be so sensitive to everything.
Several sections of Victoria Park are cordoned off today with visible police presence, though members of the public can continue to use some sporting facilities. The government announced the decision late yesterday afternoon after police officers found some people were inciting others to participate in unlawful assemblies in the park. Timothy Lee, TVB News.
Meanwhile, in Beijing, members of the Tiananmen Mothers Group went to Wan'an Cemetery to mourn their families and those who died in the June 4th incident. Several members of the group mourned the loss of their loved ones. As in previous years, they read out their eulogies. Some said they demand the truth, compensation, and accountability. Security was beefed up with every exit of the cemetery guarded by officers. A train driver died and 8 people were injured when a bullet train on the mainland derailed in a mudslide. The train traveling from Guiyang to Guangzhou was hit by mud and rock slide just before it reached a tunnel ahead of the Rongjiang railway station. After the driver hit the brakes, within 5 seconds, The train kept going for over 900 meters. The injured people include a train attendant and 7 passengers. They have been receiving treatment at a local hospital. A total of 136 other passengers have been evacuated. The region has been hit by heavy rains in recent days. Still to come on tonight's news. Ukraine forces regained some territory from Russian after the war passes 100th day. Marriott Hotel Group announces it's exiting Russia. Welcome back to TVB News. Russian troops continue their onslaught in eastern Ukraine in a war now more than 100 days old. But Luhansk's regional head says they've successfully regained some territory. Alan Bognia reports.
Block by block, fighting raged Friday in 2 eastern cities of Severodonetsk and Luhansk. Russian forces have been trying to encircle the only 2 cities in eastern Ukraine's Luhansk province not controlled by Russian forces or Moscow-backed rebels. When Putin sent his troops into Ukraine in late February, he vowed his troops wouldn't occupy the country. Now he seems increasingly unwilling to relinquish control. Putin called accusations that he's creating a worldwide famine by blocking Ukrainian grain exports a bluff. He said the 20 tons of grain supposedly being blocked represents 2.5% of the world output. He added that he's not blocking grain exports through the Azov seaports of Mariupol and Berdyansk. Earlier this week, the European Union devised a plan to try to get some of the wheat out of Ukraine over land routes. Slovakia's prime minister rejected Putin's claim that the wheat can be shipped through Azov ports and said opening up Ukraine's eastern ports is crucial.
First priority is to help the Ukrainians secure the ports at the sea, so they could start to export it on the boats, on the vessels, because we know that even the trains, if we put in operation, will not be able in the same time to export the grain over the grain routes.
And Ukraine's United Nations ambassador ridiculed Putin's claims.
Russia has played a hunger game recently to put blame on Ukraine and others for blocking Ukrainian food exports. So basically, they are saying that the imminent hunger in Africa and elsewhere will become soon because of the Western sanctions on Russia, not because of Russia's invasion of Ukraine and blocking of Ukrainian ports.
On the 100th day of the Russian invasion, Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky, flanked by army chiefs, said, "We've defended Ukraine for 100 days already. Victory will be ours." Alan Bognia, TVB News.
The global hotel group Marriott International will suspend its operations in Russia after a 25-year presence in the country due to Moscow's ongoing invasion of Ukraine. The Maryland-based U.S. hotel operator said on Friday that this decision was made in the wake of newly announced sanctions on Russia from the United States, UK, and EU. The company said the sanctions will make it impossible for it to continue to run or franchise hotels in the Russian market. Marriott announced in March that it would be closing its corporate office in Moscow. That's in addition to halting the development of future hotels in Russia. Coca-Cola, Starbucks, and McDonald's are among other multinational companies to have earlier announced their exit from Russia. A former senior White House official under former President Donald Trump was indicted on contempt charges after defying a subpoena from the House panel investigating the January 6, 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol. The 72-year-old Peter Navarro is the second aide of Donald Trump to be charged with contempt of Congress for refusing to cooperate with the January 6th investigation. Former White House advisor Steve Bannon has also been indicted. The charge underscores that the Justice Department is continuing to pursue criminal charges against Trump associates who have attempted to impede or stonewall the work of congressional investigators examining the attack on the U.S. Capitol. South Korea and the United States have staged joint military exercises. The move comes amid reports that North Korea was preparing for a nuclear test. It was the first joint exercise since South Korea's President Yoon Suk-yeol took office last month. It is also the two sides' first bilateral exercise involving an aircraft carrier since November 2017. Three-day drills took place in international waters off the Japanese island of Okinawa until Saturday. They included air defense, anti-ship, anti-submarine and maritime interdiction operations. Also joining the drills was the USS Ronald Reagan, a 100,000-ton nuclear-powered aircraft carrier. In southern Germany, a train was derailed in the Alps, leaving at least 4 people dead and 30 injured. Police said the regional train headed for Munich appeared to have derailed shortly after noon in Berggrain. 3 of the double-deck carriages overturned partially and people were pulled out of the windows. About 140 people were on the train, including students heading home from school for holidays. And that's the news for tonight. Thanks for joining us.